Question.
Probably.
Are you enjoying being at Birmingham MCM Comic Con? Are you enjoying, what's the atmosphere like today?
Oh my God, it's really packed. Everyone's enthusiastic. It's great to be here. I don't think I've been here before. I think this is my first time here. If I'm not, everything it just begins to blend. But it's a delight to be here.
Of course, you meet fans. When you do meet them, I'm sure you get the same questions again and again. What are the most common ones? What do people always want to ask you when they get a chance to meet you at events like this?
Well, I mean, oftentimes people have sort of grown up watching Star Trek, and it's been such a big part of their life. So I think the fans really just want to sort of share that with you, have a chance to be able to express that. We're all very truly grateful.
Do you see Comic-Con as like a catch up with old friends when they come and join you?
When the cast members are together, definitely, most definitely. I mean, this last year we've been together at events quite a bit because of the 30th anniversary. Oh my God. Shocking.
You still look good.
Oh, thank you. A couple points for that one. Yeah, it is a chance for us to have a sort of like social evening out together.
When you're walking through the hall, is it weird to see people dressed up as Tasha Yar?
Not at this point any longer. I mean, I've seen it just when I thought I've pretty much seen it all. Somebody'll do something that'll shock me, but for the most part, I really take it to heart. It's very sweet.
Has anyone dressed up as you, as in the Naked Now, the episode where you had a sexual intercourse with Data? Because you were very...
Wait, are you allowed to say that?
Because obviously you were dressed up quite nice in that episode. I'm just wondering, have you seen anyone at the Comic-Con events dressed up like that?
Well, it's funny you should ask, because just a couple weeks ago I was in Winnipeg, and there was a young lady who kept telling me about this costume she was making, over the course of a couple days. I think that event was a 3-day event. So Friday she came and introduced herself, and she said, I'm trying to make the Naked Now costume. And I said, oh, fantastic. I've never seen anyone wear it. And all these years. And she goes, okay, now you've really given me incentive. So by Sunday, she came with her Data, and she was wearing the Naked Now costume, and she really did a great job. I mean, that is not easy to pull off. She was brave to wear that. Believe me, that was held on by spit and glue.
Is it interesting to still be able to reprise a character, so with the Star Trek Online universe, where you've gone back and recorded some of the voice casting for that? Is it interesting to when you get the call to say, would you like to come back? Oh,
this was great. It was really interesting because the part of Sela, I think, was much more flushed out in the online game. They do such a terrific job, and it was really a delight to be able to do that, to play Sela and Tasha, and I think I did it in one day, so I was like, Tasha, Sela, it's just really a challenge for an actor to do that.
Yeah, because it must be interesting, because there's not many people in the Star Trek family who've had a chance to play two characters to such an aplomb as yourself. So was it different to get from Sela to Tasha and back and forth?
Yeah, I mean, when I was filming, it was a little bit of an easier transition because, I pretty much approached it as just a brand new character altogether, the part of Sela. And, but when doing the voice for the game, it wasn't that much space, had gone in difference. So it was a little bit trickier to just alter the voice in a way that could suggest, that I was, now Tasha, and then a little bit more of a challenge.
And obviously, it's a really exciting time for Star Trek fans with our new series, and I think having all of the previous series available on Netflix has brought a whole new audience to the show. How do you feel about the legacy of particularly Next Gen looking back? How do you think the show's aged, and how do you feel about our new series if you've been watching Discovery?
Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to watch Discovery yet, but I always ask the fans. I'm talking to the fans a lot about it, and everyone seems to be really loving it. So, which is all good. You know, people really have a very soft spot for the Next Gen. You know, of all the series, they just it. I think a lot of it has to do with the chemistry of the cast, and you know, it was 25 years had gone by before, you know, anything new had been made. So, and I think it's really a delight. It does hold up, a lot of it. The first season's a little dicey for me. I'm doing something interesting this where a lot of us are doing a cruise in January. There's CBS Viacom has an official Star Trek cruise now. And Michael Dorn and I are going to dissect Code of Honor. We're going to do a live chat of Code of Honor because it is one of the episodes that we scratch our heads, you know, in that first season going, how, why, what happened? So, you know, but yeah, I think the show has earned its place.
I recently saw an interview with Marina Sirtis saying that when the cameras were off, all you did was laugh for all the time on stage, okay? And directors had trouble with that. Can I ask you who was the most fun person to work with on the set?
Oh God, I mean, you know, certainly Brent and Jonathan made it, you know, very crazy and fun, but we all kept each other entertained, and you know, spontaneously would just do crazy fun things because, you know, the hours were so long, and again, the season ran for 26 episodes per season, which is unheard of, you know, these days. So we spent far more time on that set with each other than with our own families and private, you know, in our private lives. So it was really important to keep a certain tone, and even old Patrick Stewart got in on it after a while. He lightened up considerably and learned to have a sense of humor, actually.
When you're travelling around, obviously you go to London, you go to Birmingham, and so on and so forth, and you're in the nice hotels and stuff and things like that. And Star Trek's shown everywhere, all over the world at one point, so you must catch it when you go to a hotel. Do you ever just sit down and watch it and go, wow, did I really look like that? Or did I, or something along those lines? Or do you actually sit there and watch it, or do you turn it off?
Well, that's my little secret, isn't it? No, it's funny. I'll watch like a moment of it, you know, if I catch it at all. But yeah, I don't really. I haven't gone to that Gloria Swanson place yet, and sit there and watch my old films over and over and over again. No, not there yet. Probably will be.
I think obviously the Star Trek series have always been an evolution, and I'm curious, how important do you think your character was as a stepping stone to getting to characters like Major Kira and Janeway? Do you think we would have had characters like that in the Star Trek universe if we hadn't had yours initially?
I think that Star Trek, you know, is always a reflection of its time, and I think that, you know, having a female security chief was exactly in keeping with the times, and it's definitely a progression. You know, here we are with Discovery having, you know, female leaders, and you don't even really sort of scratch your head. I think though it's, you know, we still have a long ways to go. So, you know, clearly what we're seeing reflected in our newspapers every day, what's going on. So, you know, it's we're getting there, baby steps. But yeah, definitely, I think Tasha was a stepping stone for sure.
Swapping franchise for a second, how was your time on The Walking Dead?
How was The Walking Dead?
Yes.
Ah, wow. It was such. To be honest, I wasn't watching The Walking Dead. I had no idea how popular and this show had become. They were so lovely to work with and welcoming and embracing, and I think that truly begins with Andrew Lincoln being who he is. He's just a lovely human being. They do a great job. They know what they're doing. They know how to turn this out like cinematically within days, and everybody's very professional. So I was kept really under wrap. The show is very guarded, very secretive. I had absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into. They didn't even tell me what I was doing until like the day of.
Wow.
I knew I was wearing a wig, and that's pretty much all I knew. And it was a really interesting experience in that way, that you're kind of just shooting on the fly,
It must have been such a completely different experience to something as scripted as Star Trek Next Generation going into them.
Right, and and it was just they shoot in they shoot very very precisely and well in Atlanta. It was just great to be part of again this phenomenon.
You mentioned before that you'll be working on a third Trekkies documentary.
Ah.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that you'll be covering this time?
Well, I hope to go to some places that we haven't been. I'd really like to go to Asia and sort of see what's happening in China and various parts of Asia. I'd like to check back on some of my stars from the first two. I know that Gabriel Kerner, who was 14 in Trekkies, he's now doing some opticals and special effects for the Orville. He's on that show. How complete, I knew it. I told you back then. So, yeah, I'd love to check back on just go to some places and then talk to the new casts, the J.J. Abrams actors, Discovery actors, just check in how this is affecting them, what Trek looks like to them after this amount of time, and and then hand it off, and I'll have finished my trilogy.
Speaking of Orville for a minute, obviously Jonathan Frakes is involved. I think maybe Roxanne Dawson, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I think she was, directing wise.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ever thought of emailing Steph and go, fancy bringing Tasha Yar back?
It wouldn't be Tasha Yar, but I have met with those guys about doing a part on the Orville.
I think
So
Robert Picardo's just
Yes.
gone back.
Oh,
has he?
Okay,
on the Orville
Yes.
as the same character.
Not as the same
Oh,
character,
right,
he's going
but
into the
exactly. So
Yeah.
I think that Seth is a big Trekkie, so
Oh, he
I'm
is,
sure
yes.
he'll find something for us if we can do it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
Oh yes, we'll do one more.
so would you look at returning to the franchise in a different role then? Obviously, having played two different characters already in the Star Trek universe.
Oh, I think it'd be really great fun, and I think the fans would love it, and I hope to do it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good guys. Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.